All right, here is SIA coin on a daily chart basis. Let's first count this. I think the more times I take you through the counts, the more repetition, the better for all of you to see if you can get the hang of it. I can assure you, I think maybe in just a few weeks, maybe days or months, most of you will be criticizing my counts. And that would be the confirmation that I'm doing a really, really good job in putting out these videos and helping people just like you to maybe acquire a new technique from a technical analysis perspective to be able to do and hold your own analysis. That'll be the ultimate. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have massive losses at times, but that's going to be part of the tonnage of failure experiences you'll have to have no matter what. But as long as you learn from it and get better, it really doesn't matter. So here it is. Where would I put 1 here, do you think? I could put 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2. Where would be a better place? All of these would be technically abiding by the rules of wave 1 and 2 placement. I'm going to put it here. The rule for wave 1 and 2 is what? 2 cannot exceed the lowest point of wave 1, but it can retrace as much as 99.999%. It missed that rule. Good. Why wouldn't I put it here, 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 here? Form and fit, how it looks, matters quite a bit in making that kind of decision. I think it looks a lot better here for 1 and 2 and meets the rules. Some might have a different perspective and say, from my perception, it looks better here or here. Perfect. It doesn't matter. Why? It all leads to the same point. That's why. There is no happiness to be found in arguing as to where and exactly how precise the Elliott wave markings have to be. In my early days, I used to get into terrible arguments with others, correcting them and hating to be corrected. And I hated to be corrected because at that time I didn't realize it, but I was very myopic. I only saw my count as being the right count. I wasn't open to any other count. That was another big lesson I learned. You might learn it as well. I'm going to put 3, 4. Does wave 4 bottom overlap with the top of 1? No. Big space. Perfect. Meets the rules. So, for wave 5, where would you put it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfectly good 5 waves, subwaves to make up 5. And you might say, well, why not here? You could. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Absolutely correct. But I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to label this as A, B, C. If you had 5 here, you could do A, B, C. And what difference would it make on how you arrive at C? All roads in this count leads to C, the bottom of C. It doesn't matter. Okay? So you might say, what is this? How do I take into account this? If this is A, B, and C, these are the subwaves of C. Okay? Why do I prefer this? To me, the expanded A, B, C flats are more common, becoming more and more common. I'm running into them a lot more than I expected, and it's very surprising, very interesting. How would you count this? When anything is channeling like this, it's really not, it's similar to a triangle, and then I can label as A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and if this is correct, prices should be bouncing off this support, bottom support line. And it should go. It needs to then break out of the resistance channel line here, clearly, lest it be bounced back again, and try one more time. Okay? Now the question is, well, how do we know whether that's happening or could happen? I mean, it could just break through the bottom support and just, never mind zero, maybe it'll go to negative something. That's when you need to control fear. And you need to really try to be objective as possible, and that's why Elliott Waves allows a small peak around the corner as to what are probables from a scenario point of view. Is it possible they can go to zero? Absolutely. But when you really become versed in that Elliott Waves, you learn and experience the difference between possible and probable. And the key is to be able to select probable outcomes and scenarios that are correct more than 50% of the time. But you're not going to be always right. And that, how do you come to that skill set? Practice. Lots and lots of failures. And paper trading, while helpful, is not a failure experience. It won't teach as well. Failure, that's why failures teach better than successes. Here is a sub-daily chart. So here we were thinking, well, how do we know whether this is going to start lifting up and go towards the upper line and hopefully break through? If you look at this part, looks just like Bitcoin. Okay. What pattern can you discern here? I can discern two patterns. Congratulations if you got this. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. The symmetry is not perfect. I know. And it doesn't have to be. More and better the symmetry, the better the pattern and predictability. So if the symmetry isn't perfect, then what I usually do, here's another key take home. If you find one pattern, look for another in the exact same area. That's why I've asked you guys to maybe put together a portfolio of 3 to 5 patterns. Learn how to recognize it and visualize it and identify it and mark it. So we have head and shoulders as a potential pattern. What could be the second pattern here? What would you call this? Ascending right triangle. So you got two fur in the same spot. Draw a line parallel to the rising line of the ascending right triangle. And where it meets is the minimum target, where it meets the apex. The apex is the line that's where the two lines of the ascending right triangle meets. To calculate the minimum price movement, I find a parallel line to the lower line of the triangle. And the point where the apex is, I draw a line up, straight up, vertical line, until it hits that parallel line, and this price point, 0.0058, let's say, would be the minimum. This is the minimum for the head and shoulders. Bottom of the head to the neckline. I'm going to copy and paste that and just put it right on top of that first line. Pretty similar. Pretty similar. So let's do some forward thinking. I don't know how many of you guys are very good in chess, but my daughter beats me in chess all the time. She's a genius. So here is the, let's say the price does go up to the minimum in a way that's like so. And rises here. Well, forward thinking will allow you to kind of say, look at this. If that's possible, what are you looking at here? Left shoulder, big head, right shoulder, and at this point, I would be calling wave 4 bottom, equivalent to what the Bitcoin has. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Keep a close eye on the Bitcoin bear. It hasn't gone to hibernation yet. All of these bullish scenarios has the caveat of what the Bitcoin bear does. Why? Bitcoin is like the moon that moves all the cryptosphere tides. When Bitcoin sneezes, the altcoins catch the flu, as you have seen. Okay, so let's be very careful and cautious. But how do you be careful and cautious? Ladder your wrongs and ladder your entries. I hope this has been helpful. Have a great weekend, guys.